The United States is filled with haunted locations, each with its own ghost stories and paranormal occurrences. There is a haunted spot to be found in every state. The stories behind these shadow figures, laughter, footsteps, abandoned buildings, and haunted forests are scary and often tragic. If you are the kind of person for whom the horror movies get your blood pumping and a heart beating faster, you might get a thrill from visiting some creepy sites in real life. Here is a list of the top 10 scariest hotspots, or rather cold spots, to visit in the United States of America. Number 10. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, West Virginia. Built in the mid-1800s, the asylum was designed to house a maximum of 250 patients. But in the 1950s, it had nearly 2,400 patients living in overcrowded, poor conditions. The asylum offered money to anyone who dropped off a patient, many of whom showed no signs of mental illness, but conditions in the overcrowded, understaffed building full of the mistreated mentally ill would make the sanest of souls lose their minds. Experimental medical procedures were often performed on patients, and anyone who complained or acted out was chained to the walls of an empty room for months. Worse yet, a visiting doctor performed hundreds of lobotomies there. The hospital closed its doors permanently in 1994. Number 9. Yuma Territorial Prison Museum and Park. The Yuma Territorial Prison is a former prison located in Yuma, Arizona, United States. From 1876 through 1909, the prison housed over 3,000 prisoners, including 29 women. Due to being overcrowded, the prison was closed in 1909. When a prisoner broke the rules, he was confined in solitary to the dark cell, which was 10 feet by 10 feet. The dark cell is the area where ghostly activity occurs, witnesses seeing things, and a woman who sings in the visitors area early in the morning. Johnny, another ghost, doesn't venture out of the gift shop. He flicks coins in the cash register, but leaves the bills alone. Number 8. The Groove, Jefferson. Jefferson, a charming little town in East Texas, has been named the most haunted small town in the state. All it takes is one visit to figure out why. The Groove is perhaps the scariest haunted house in Texas. The Groove has a long history and reputation of being haunted. None of its earlier owners were able to occupy the house for very long due to the spirits. Nearly every building in this town has a ghost behind it. Number 7. St. Augustine Lighthouse. St. Augustine Lighthouse is the oldest brick structure in the city. There is a reason why the lighthouse was called the Mona Lisa of paranormal sites. With its long and intriguing past, it's not surprising that the St. Augustine Lighthouse has gained a haunted reputation. Many who visited there, and others who lived close by, have reported experiencing something mysterious. According to the staff of the place, the playful ghost of 2 children inhabits the lighthouse. Workers often discover previously locked doors from the night before hanging wide open the next day. They often hear children's laughter in the middle of the night. Chairs move or overturn, and various items in the gift shop are moved or disappear. Only 2 reappear. Number 6. Fort Mifflin on Delaware. Just south of Philadelphia stands a bastion of defense against naval attacks from the Delaware River. Fort Mifflin was commissioned in 1771 and stands on Mud Island in the Delaware River. It was the site of an important American Revolutionary War battle in 1777, when the British Army bombarded and captured Fort Mifflin on their way to Philadelphia. The bombardment was the heaviest in the war. Almost half the Americans stationed here died. The site has many paranormal activities. The second-floor balcony of the barracks is often visited by the spirits of the lamplighter, a faceless man, supposedly the ghost of a war criminal held in cells during the Civil War. The Screaming Lady is the loudest of the ghosts at the fort she has never seen, but wails from the old quarters, where she appears to be living out an eternity of regret for disowning her daughter. Number 5. The Myrtles Plantation. This estate in St. Francisville, built in 1796 by General David Bradford, is considered one of the most haunted houses in America. It has witnessed around 10 murders. In the 1970s, the house was purchased by the Myers family, and its reputation as a haunted house would come about. The family opened the plantation as a bed and breakfast, and it didn't take long for strange things to happen. Guests reported hearing strange noises. Others saw ghostly appearances, often a young girl wearing a turban. Worse yet, according to another local legend, the plantation was built on top of an old Indian burial ground. Number 4. The Queen Mary. The crown jewel of British shipbuilding, the Queen Mary is indeed the unrivaled Queen of the Seas. For 31 years, the Queen Mary sailed the North Atlantic. It helped defeat Hitler and was the ship of choice for the world's rich and famous. In addition to being a beautiful ship with a great history, it is also listed as one of the most haunted places in America. Perhaps because of the several deaths that occurred on the ship, at least 49 people died on the ship, along with countless other military personnel who passed away during the war. Several children are also said to have passed away by drowning in the pool. Number 3. Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park. One of the most popular state parks in North Dakota is also among the state's most haunted places. It was established in 1872. The haunted fort is a rebuilt home of Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer. He left the fort to head to his infamous defeat and death at the Battle of Little Bighorn in 1876. The haunted fort's visitors and staff have reported paranormal activity over the years. Number 2. Winchester Mystery House. In 1884, Sarah Winchester purchased what would later become known as when Sarah Winchester's husband, William Wirt Winchester, died in 1881, and she died in 1922. She became one of the wealthiest women in the world. After her husband's death, rightful heiress Sarah Winchester lived alone. She then transformed her farmhouse's 8 rooms into a sprawling 160-room mansion that spanned 24,000 square feet, complete with doors and stairwells that led to nowhere. Number 1. Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum. Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum is located in Las Vegas. The museum is filled with strange, unusual, and cursed objects. It's not just a building turned ghostly museum, it's also a historical landmark with its history to explore. The museum has been created with 30 rooms of the historic Wengert Mansion. It is filled with disturbing items such as Dr. Jack Kevorkian's death van and propofol chair from the room where Michael Jackson died and many other allegedly possessed items. Guests under 16 years old are not allowed inside, and the visitors must sign a waiver stating they understand the risks before entering. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. We'll see you in the next one.